Did that dunk surprise you? That Klay dunk?
It did. He's been talking about just how he feels and what's gonna be the last thing to come back. And that was the answer. And then it took him 9 minutes. And he got down the lane and had confidence to go up and try it even and got it done. So it was vicious. It was amazing to watch. And obviously the building was crazy all the way from start to finish. So it was a great night.
Steph, you gave up your traditional spot as the last one called in the starting lineup. Watching that and watching Klay sitting on the bench right there in the crowd, what was that like for you to witness?
It was special. It was just set up for the love that I know he's been waiting for, and just that moment, hear the crowd, know that he's gone through so many highs and lows over the last 2.5 years, and that was the moment that he could celebrate, that journey and just go hoop. So it delivered. That moment delivered for sure. I got goosebumps on the other side of the court just watching, big smiles and all that. So he's earned, deserved, and all that welcome back to the court moment, and that was special.
Steph, the dunk is going to be the biggest basketball moment I think that people talk about. But I wonder on the other end of the floor, you spent a lot of years just guarding that perimeter with him and seeing who he can be as a defender. What are you seeing on that end in terms of his ability to get back to that level defensively?
I know he wants to get back there where he's known as, like you said, as much for putting the ball in the basket as he is as a defensive two-way guy. And he got a block tonight. He should have had two. Questionable call on the first one. And a lot of that's just his endurance and building that up over time where he can, play for significant stretches and focus on both. But I mean, he looks like he has a decent enough, base and foundation tonight to build off of the rest of the season. And then long term get back to that elevated, all defensive team level.
Steph, I know you described the emotions around when his name was called during starting lineups, but I'm curious, was there a moment either pregame or postgame that really stood out to you between you and Klay?
I mean, pregame, the shooting time, our pregame warm-up, before he got hurt, we didn't. I usually left the court by the time he was coming on, and I got to feel that energy when he, got out there. The first 4 shots he made, I thought I had to catch myself because it felt like the game. Everybody was going nuts. And it's like he can shoot. Like he ain't lost that ability. I know we haven't seen it in a while, so that was a cool moment. Just again, a different energy, a different atmosphere out there, even in pregame shoot around 90 minutes before the game. So that was pretty cool. And then obviously everybody rocking the KT11 jerseys from all different times throughout his career. It's pretty cool acknowledgement of all he's been through.
Heading into the season, there was abstract conversation of what level adding Klay back will take this team to. But getting off to 29 wins before he comes back and now seeing how he did in his first game, what level does that bring this team to now?
It's hard to put in. I mean, we have championship aspirations. That's where we want to be. How that looks, we got to figure that out. With Klay back, it's one step towards becoming whole. A huge step. And then Wise eventually down the road. And then we kind of go from there. So it's just good confidence to know that you got to one milestone. For Klay, that's just him getting back on the floor and playing basketball and for the most part being there every night. And then we keep building. We have 41 games. Can't do math. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. To figure out who we are, 1 through 15, 17, and figure out what our rotations are looking like and what our chemistry is going to be like. And I like we're off to a good start on that.
Hey, Steph, given the obvious history that you and Klay have together with championships and shooting accolades, how would you put into perspective what it meant to you to be able to reunite in the backcourt and what he has meant to you as a teammate over the years?
We were laughing. I mean, we were laughing because he's been out for whatever 900 something days. Last game he played, we were in the finals. I don't think he really felt what we on the court went through the year after when I got hurt in 15 and 55 or whatever, 15 and 50 we were. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's what it felt like. And then with this last year during the pandemic, the playing game and all that type of stuff, like he's only seen the playoffs. So I think for him, it's a good confidence of coming back, and we're hopefully back at that level that we're used to being. And kind of go from there in terms of, just what our high expectations are. And, we have an amazingly talented group and very deep. So it's going to, like I said, I don't know what it's going to look like, but I know we have the capability and the opportunity to get there. And he is a huge part of that, obviously. So it's exciting. Like, kind of all coming together, and you just want to stay in the moment and keep building, because it's a special time right now.
Steph, in what ways did you try your best to support him during his layoff, off the court? And I want to see if you could also talk about that time in New York when you broke the record, why it was important to put his jersey in your locker.
Honestly, I mean, it's hard. The first question was hard because you're balancing the day-to-day expectations of what it means for us to try to keep things going while he's out. You know how much of a grind it is to prepare for the season, during the season, traveling, all that type of stuff. So it's hard when you're not physically together a lot. That first year was rough. Just because it's hard to do that remote. Like, you can check in, you say what's up, but rehab is like, it's difficult and it's lonely and it's monotonous. And that's why tonight was so special, because you recognize 2 years of that. It's crazy. So this year has been a little bit easier and better. Or sorry, last year was, where he was around a lot more. He could be a part of, our meetings, the road trips, that type of stuff. Even at practice, like just being around that energy is good for him to stay motivated. And then, this first part of this year, we've had more time on the court where you can kind of see the juice is starting to flow as the timeline got shorter and shorter. So it's just about encouraging him when he's around, like picking him up, just bringing a good energy, and just keeping it real on like how impressive it is that he's stuck with this, with 2 severe injuries, and to put himself in a position where his body's ready to go back out there and hoop. So it's a lot. 970 days is a lot. It's a long time. So I'm sure there's a lot of ups and downs for him.
Steph, I'm sorry.
Oh, shooting the basketball is what we do. And, the work that we've put in since he got here, and, the level of inspiration I think we both have for each other, and the internal competition and all that helped me get to that point, throughout my career. And it was amazing to honor him, even though he wasn't there, to let him know, like, I'm not the shooter I am if I don't get to see Klay every single day do what he does. Because he keeps you sharp, and you understand, like, if I want to shoot the ball the way I want to, there's another guy that can do it too.
Hey, Steph, you said you have 43 games to figure out who you are. Who do you think this team is now with Klay? And how much of it, you also mentioned the depth, how much of this team's identity, and if you do make a championship run, how much of it is going to be because you go 9, 10, 11 deep?
That we got to figure that out. I don't know how to put it into words, but it's going to be a lot of opportunity the rest of this regular season. And when you get closer to the playoffs, I'm sure the rotation will shrink a little bit, but you got to figure out what your solid 9-10 are. But then understand, like, to win a playoff series, it could, be that 11 to 15 that somebody has to step up and provide, some different look or option or energy that we might need to win a series. So, it's with me, Klay, Draymond, Loon, who have been there before, Andre, we understand what it takes to compete at that level. We understand what it means to prepare down the stretch of a season, prepare for a series, all that type of stuff. And then we have some young guys that are going to really be important for us to get over that hump. And who knows what it looks like, but it's all, the only thing that should matter for anybody is winning and being ready for your opportunity, whatever that means.
Stephen, you talked about how Klay has been an important part of your journey. When did you first see that he could be what he eventually became?
I don't know, like the first moment was just kind of a gradual, just confidence building, your confidence gradually builds over time where you understand, like, what we do, we don't really step on each other's toes, we complement each other. And that takes a while to truly, like, believe and whatnot. But, like, when you get to, I think that first playoff series second playoff series against the second year we made the playoffs against the Clippers, that 7-game series, just the level that we had to play, push that to 7. We lost, obviously, but him guarding CP most of that series, and it's the competitive will that we had, like, that set the stage for what the next 5-year run looked like, and he was a huge part of that. So that jumped first out of my mind. But it's all more games you play from the time he took over from Monte and just really came into his own. Like, every game was another step, and, like, we can do something special as a backcourt because we complement each other so well.
18 shots in 20 minutes.
That is so Klay Thompson, and I freaking love it.
I was say more or less than you expected.
I think it was a little bit more. I didn't think it was a shot a minute. It hit the over. But the funny part is coach had to mention it. We had to mention it before the game. Like, don't feel like you have to force feed him because he will find his shots. And he definitely did not disappoint on that front.
Steve said the first play was actually designed for him to pass it, and he just didn't.
The whole story is he drew up a play to use Klay as, like, kind of a decoy to take a little bit of pressure off. And there was a second option where I was supposed to come off a screen. And then as he was drawing it up, he didn't even get to finish writing up the play. And Klay was like, no, can we switch it to the other side? Because he likes that way, coming off of catch and shoot. And then coach, like, kind of stumbled because he's like, no, there's another option at the end. Like, you just forget it. We're going to run it over here. If you get it, just shoot it. And that's what happened. So it was perfect. And he drove and got the finish. It was a good moment to get that one off his shoulders. Yeah, I guess what the expectation is. And we'll see as we go, on this road trip against, Cleveland's a really good defense. Memphis is playing amazing. We got Milwaukee, Chicago, Minnesota. So we'll figure out how different teams, make their adjustments and all that. But for a guy to get up 18 shots in 19 minutes and he has to either create that or, he's going to get open looks because there's going to be attention elsewhere. And it's a great option to have, obviously. So I'm sure we'll both benefit in the long run.